Okay, folks, time is approximately 6 p.m. The May 7th, 2026 Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting will now begin. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and online. I want to thank you for your presence at tonight's Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. My name is Ron Williams, the fourth elected mayor of the town of Farragut. We appreciate that each of you is taking your time from your busy schedules to either attend or view tonight's meeting. This will be a great example of how our town government works. All Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman meetings are public notice per Tennessee state law. All board meeting minutes are taken and are available at a later date. Each meeting will be recorded and can be viewed later on YouTube. If you are in attendance, you should be able to pick up a copy of tonight's agenda at the door when you came in. If you could not attend tonight and are viewing from home, then the agenda is available online at our website. For those in attendance that would like to speak, please pick up a blue card at the door and write your name and agenda number you wish to comment on. There will also be subjects which requires that you fill out a blue card if you decide to speak at Citizens Forum. Each agenda item, the mayor will ask the town administrator for residents' input. During this time, any Farragut resident wishing to speak to the board on that specific agenda item may do so for up to 3 minutes. After being recognized by the mayor, please go to the podium microphone to be heard and viewed by all. To conduct efficient, business-like meetings, the town has adopted rules for how its meetings will be conducted. Primarily, these rules are designed to keep the meeting moving, assure that all points of view are heard and considered, and to provide common courtesy to everyone. We ask that you observe the established meeting rules when addressing the board. At the beginning of the presentation, please state your name and address for the record. We ask that you address all your comments to the mayor. Do not comment directly to the alderman or staff members. If necessary, the mayor may call on an alderman or staff member concerning your questions or comments. Once you've given your input, please return to your seat so we can continue with the meeting. We ask that every speaker avoid the use of improper language, profanity, or inappropriate conduct, and address issues, not individuals or personalities, with malicious comments. Speakers should strive to avoid redundancy and should have their own original viewpoints. We ask that you also stay on topic for that agenda item. Okay, meeting called to order. Tonight's meeting, we will have a roll call by the town recorder for a quorum.
Alderman Burnett. Alderman Kane.
Here.
Alderman LaCroix.
Here.
Vice Mayor Meyer. Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, we do have a quorum. Thank you. Please now join me by standing, if you're able, for a reflection of our nation's veterans, along with their pledge of allegiance to our country's flag, led tonight by Alderman LaCroix, because we do not have a scout. Okay. Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, any agenda amendments? None? Okay. I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay. That would be Alex and Joe. If in favor, approval, please say yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Let the record show the May 7th, 2026 agenda has been approved as posted. Approval of the minutes. Do we have any amendments to our April 9th, 2026 workshop minutes?
No.
None? Okay. Then I'll need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
Joe, if in favor of approval, please say yes.
Yes.
Let the record show the minutes have been approved for the workshop of April 9th. Okay. Next will be meeting minutes for April 9th. Any amendments to that?
No.
None? Okay. I'll need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Alex and Joe. And in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let the record show that the meeting minutes have been approved for April 9th. Workshop minutes for April 23rd. Workshop minutes. Any amendments?
No.
None? Okay. Motion.
Motion to approve.
Alex?
Second.
Joe, if in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Let the record show the minutes have been approved as posted. Okay, meeting minutes for April 23rd, 2026. None? Okay. I'll need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Alex,
Second.
Joe, in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Let the record show the minutes have been approved. Whew, man. That was a marathon. Okay, Mayor's report. I'll start with a thank you for all that attended the Museum History Hour this past Tuesday. I appreciate everyone that come out. We had a good attendance. Also, let's see, we'll start tonight with Alderman Burnett is not here, so Alderman Kane, do you have any comments that you'd like during the Mayor's report?
Nothing during the mayor's report, but other than I did attend a ribbon cutting and welcome a couple days ago here for the chamber. They welcomed 3 new businesses into the town. And they had a great turnout of people here from in and around town. One of them is the Prosperity Lounge, Joey Ruffalo's business. There was another one. I don't remember the exact name of it, but they help people as they're transitioning out of, say, after a death of a family member or so on. They move into different residences and so on. And then there was a handyman company. So very nice to see all 3 of them coming in.
Yeah, fortunately, this particular ribbon cutting that Alderman Kane's talking about was for the home-based businesses, which we, surprisingly, we have a lot of home-based businesses in our town. Next will be Alderman LaCroix.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Nothing? Okay, then we'll move on. Tonight, we have ordinance 2609, approval of ordinance 2609, discussion on the first reading of ordinance for the town of Farragut, Tennessee, to amend the Farragut Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, zoning, Chapter 4, general provisions and exceptions, Section C, general provisions, number 2, basis establishing areas of special flood hazard to update the reference community panel numbers for 0243G, 0244G, to reference the LOMAR affecting these panel numbers, which became effective February 10th, 2026.
Okay, I'm Bart Hose. I'm the Assistant Community Development Director. Mark Shipley was not able to be here tonight. I'm here for the first reading of Ordinance 2609. Again, it is to adopt 2 updated and amended flood insurance rate map panels. Those panels were amended as part of a LOMAR process, which is a FEMA-approved letter of map revision process. That's something that developers tend to do if they're doing any sort of work in a floodway, or they're making changes, or if they identify problems in existing flood maps that need to be revised. It's a standard process that FEMA has, to allow for those flood insurance rate maps to be amended and adopted or amended. And then in order for us to use them as a basis for our regulatory program, we need to adopt those amended panels. So the process of revising those panels started several years ago. It was part of the Biddle project. They were doing some bridge work and some other work in and around the flood zones. So they opted to go through the LOMAR process with FEMA. It's a fairly elaborate process. They have to do a bunch of engineering and modeling. They have to submit all that information to FEMA. FEMA approves it and actually issues what's called a CLOMAR, a conditional letter of map revision. Then the developers build to that pre-approved plan, and then they have to come back and document that they met all those parameters. So that's been done. The revised panels were issued and made effective by FEMA on February 10th of 2026. So now the town needs to adopt those panels as part of its its flood damage prevention ordinance, which is actually part of the zoning ordinance to, be able to regulate based on that revised data. And staff would recommend approval of that on first reading.
Okay, Bart, thank you. In that case, I'll need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Alex, Joe. Do we have any residents signed up to speak on this item?
No.
None? Okay, then Alderman Kane,
I have no questions.
Alderman LaCroy.
Hey, Bart, so during the process of build-out for Biddle Farms, the developer requested or asked for a revision? Is that how this began? And when did the town get involved, or have we been involved through this entire process?
Well, they actually started it very early on in the planning stages because they realized that they were going to have to redo the bridge that's there, and the bridge abutments are in the floodway, and anytime you do any work in the floodway, you either have to do a no-rise certification or go through this process. So they started it early on. In doing it, I think they also realized that there were some some issues with the existing firm panels, so they went ahead and asked to make corrections to those as well, and so it started very early on. The town is part of the process in the sense of signing off on them doing it, and then as part of the process, so we know that it's going on and to be part of that. But all of the modeling, all of the engineering was done by the developers. Well, actually, the developers' consultants, and then that information is submitted to FEMA, for their review, so that it meets all of their parameters to amend the maps.
Okay, it's a long drawn-out process. I think, what, it take about 3 years?
Yeah, it can be. It can take a while.
Yeah. Okay, with discussion closed, I'll ask the town recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Kane,
Yes.
Alderman LaCroy,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Thank you. Let the record show ordinance 26-09 has been approved on the first reading by a 3-0 roll call vote, May 7th, 2026, at approximately 6:13 p.m. Okay, next we have, before we get into the business items, we're going to do a couple of resolutions. You want to start off with yours? Alderman LaCroy.
Yes, I will. So this is a proclamation for Building Safety Month, May 2026. Whereas the town of Farragut is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depend on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who worked year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by ICC, that's the International Code Council, to remind the public about the critical role of our communities, largely unknown protectors of public safety, our code officials who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our property. And whereas Built to Last, the theme for Building Safety Month 2026, encourages us all to get involved and raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community. and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now therefore, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Farragut, State of Tennessee, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, we encourage our citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities.
Okay, thank you, Alderman LaCroy. And you're up now, Alderman King.
Thank you. Proclamation is for National Travel and Tourism Week. Whereas tourism is a vital contributor to our community's economy, culture, and quality of life, supporting local businesses, creating jobs, and fostering pride in our shared heritage. And whereas travelers from near and far bring fresh perspectives, strengthen cultural exchange, and help preserve the natural and historic treasures that make the town of Farragut unique. And whereas tourism enables success for all industries, including manufacturing, agriculture, healthcare, hospitality, and more, by driving sales growth, innovation, education, operations that power our economy. And whereas tourism spending supports vibrant and safe communities across the United States by generating more than $89 billion in state and local tax revenue in 2025 to support essential services such as education, emergency response, public safety, and supporting more than 15 million American jobs. And whereas tourism is an essential industry, and we must continue to communicate that growing travel leads to economic growth, benefits businesses, fosters mutual understanding, and whereas the town's tourism program, Visit Farragut, is dedicated to marketing Farragut's hotels, restaurants, attractions, and other amenities to increase visitation to our town and our region. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Farragut, Tennessee, do hereby designate May 3rd to May 9th, 2026 as National Travel and Tourism Week.
Hey, thank you, Alderman Kane. That's $89 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Chunk of change there. Okay, next we'll move on to the business items, and we have 5 of those to review and consider for approval. And we'll start off with the reappointment to the Visual Resources Review Board. And I think, who's going to read that?
Mayor, we had one member of our Visual Resources Review Board, Brittany Moore, that has unfortunately missed too many meetings this year. There were good excuses for those missed meetings, and she would like to be reappointed for the remainder of her term for this remainder of this fiscal year. So the motion would be to reappoint Ms. Moore to the Visual Resources Review Board for the remainder of her unexpired term, which is June of 2026.
Okay, thank you, David. Need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion, Alderman Kane, do you have anything?
I do not have anything.
Alderman LaCroy?
Yeah, Miss Moore is awesome. I love having her on the VRRB, and she's very knowledgeable. Highly recommend this, so, yes.
Yeah, she's been on for a while, and she does a good job. Okay, with discussion closed, I ask in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yep.
Noes, let the record show that reappointment's been approved as requested. Okay, next will be approval of professional services agreement with Tunnel Spangler Associates, it's called TSW, for professional services to completely update the town's existing comprehensive land use plan that was adopted in December of 2012.
Okay, so yes, again, this is for the approval of that professional services agreement. It's with TSW, which is a consulting firm that does planning work for a lot of local governments and other organizations. It is to update our existing comprehensive land use plan that's been in place since 2012. We've made some minor amendments to it and changes to it over time. We also recently did the mixed-use town center vision plan, which was done by the same consulting firm. I'm with the town to, kind of focus in on that area. But the original plan had a planned lifespan through 2025. So it's really time to be updating that. And the changes we made to it have helped it along the way, but, plans do have a shelf life. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of population growth, a lot of changes both inside and around Farragut, and it's really warranted to do a plan update at this point. The existing plan has really served the town well. It's used on a regular basis. It's used by the Planning Commission and the Board of Mayor and Alderman and other groups within the town to kind of advance the strategies that were part of that plan. It was a very visual plan. It broke the town into areas and sub-areas to focus on. But it did have 8 overreaching strategies. One was to bring about a downtown. We've been working hard on that. Evidence of that is the Biddle Town Center project, all of the development that's been done around the intersection of Kingston Pike and Campbell Station Road, 35 North, on the shopping center with Starbucks in it. The look of those developments, bringing them forward on the property. Also over at the Russell House and the park, that's associated with that. So we've been working on that strategy. The second strategy was to repair aging shopping centers. The Ingalls Center is a good example of that. The West End Center has been improved over the years. And in fact, right now, they're actually looking to add a liner building that's been through the Planning Commission, I think, already. And we've been working on a landscape plan for that, too. So they're actually going in and intensifying that development and adding to it. That's a good thing. The third strategy was to encourage greater housing choice. I know they've been controversial, but there've been some apartments added to the area. We've seen a lot more townhome development and that type of development. Increased connectivity was the fourth strategy. That's done on a regular basis almost every time we approve a major site plan or a subdivision. There's connections, either street connections, traffic easement, type connections, or connections for sidewalks and greenways. So. Working on that connectivity to make things more walkable, to provide people alternative, modes of transportation to get around town. The fifth strategy was to capitalize on the town's heritage, and again, the Russell House is a good example of that. The effort the town went to kind of rehab that structure and to make it productive. The town's using it now, and also the park that went along with it. Expand our borders was the sixth strategy. It's really not particularly practical in the state of Tennessee. The annexation laws are really kind of stacked against local governments, or at least cities, and so it's kind of hard to annex. The seventh strategy was to enhance the town's identity, both natural and built environment. We have architectural design standards now. We, look at all the commercial developments and multifamily developments to, make sure that they adhere with that look. The town's has always had really a robust landscaping requirements for new developments, signage requirements, and a lot of the newer subdivisions that we've seen on some of the larger vacant tracts are open space zoning, type developments, which allow the developers to get a little more density than they might normally because, they're not losing land to, portions of the property that aren't particularly developable, but those also tend to be more environmentally sensitive, stream bottoms, sinkholes, ridge lines, steeper topography. So that's helped to preserve some open space in the town, and, that's a good thing. And then the eighth strategy was to do some planning for the vacant parcels that are left in the town. We've been doing that, part of the mixed-use town center vision plan, focused on some of those main tracks, the Ford property, the Allen property. So it's, the plan's been well-used, and it would be helpful to update it now, given the change, that we're seeing in the area and the fact that the town is, becoming more and more built out in terms of vacant land. So there are going to be issues in the future in terms of either redevelopment or infill development. Transportation is a big issue. So that's something that's going to have to be something really well looked at in this planning effort. So again, the town put out RFQs. I'm not exactly sure the date they went out, but we had 4 applicants. There were 4 different consulting firms that applied for that. Then we had a rating process on those 4 applications, or those 4 applicants for that, and the TSW firm was selected. They're a firm that we have experience with because they did do the mixed-use town center vision plan. Their main office is in Atlanta, but they have a satellite office in Chattanooga. And, most of the staff that'll be working on this will be, from the Chattanooga office, although they'll bring other expertise in from, as needed. If you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to try to answer those about the process or that firm. And then I guess another point was that the amount that was budgeted for the project was $150,000, and their cost came in below that at $139,585. So.
Move to approve. All right. Did I jump the gun there, sir?
No,
I was trying to get in front of Alex.
I think, no, I was just wasn't sure if Bart was quite finished, but if he has, and he does recommend that we approve that, then, Joe, I'll accept that as a motion.
You recommended, Bart?
Yes, sir.
Second.
With that, okay, Alex, you'll second that, okay. We have any residents signed up to speak on this?
Yes, sir. Joey Ruffalo.
Okay. Push your button there.
There you go.
Joey,
Thank you.
you got it.
Good evening, Joey Ruffalo, Campbell Lakes Drive, Farragut. The last time Farragut undertook a major update to the town's comprehensive land use plan was in 2012 with the adoption of what has become known as Farragut 2025. Before that, the last one was until 2001. At the time, the plan was presented as a long-term vision for how Farragut would grow, develop, and preserve its identity over the following decade and beyond. And that plan has had a tremendous impact on the town we see today, from the development of the town center and Biddle Farms to the redevelopment of aging commercial areas to changes in connectivity requirements, housing options, and infrastructure planning. The decisions made under Farragut 2025 shaped the community for more than a decade. And it's important to remember tonight because this isn't just a routine contract approval. This is the beginning of another long-term roadmap, a complete update that will influence future zoning decisions, redevelopment efforts, infrastructure priorities, and the overall character of Farragut for years to come. Now, we all know growth is inevitable, but I do not believe in growth simply for growth's sake. Communities across this country and currently here at home have seen what happens when development outpaces planning, infrastructure, and community expectations. You begin to see things like increased traffic congestion, pressure on infrastructure, loss of community character, and residents feeling like decisions are happening around them instead of with them. And the reality is those outcomes usually do not happen overnight. They happen gradually through a series of decisions that often trace back to a long-range plan adopted years earlier. That's why this process matters so much. Because once adopted, this plan will not just serve as a vision document. Historically, Farragut has actively used its comprehensive land use plan to guide ordinances, capital investments, redevelopment priorities, and rezoning decisions. In many ways, this document becomes the framework future decisions are justified through. Updating this plan is necessary given how much Farragut has changed since 2012, but I do not believe this update needs to focus on strategic growth, not simply continued growth. This means infrastructure aligned with development, preserving the character that drew families here in the first place, respecting existing neighborhoods, and ensuring residents have meaningful input throughout the process. This update will determine what Farragut looks like not just the next year, but 10, 15, 20 years from now. So as this process moves forward, I simply encourage the board to approach it with transparency, intentionality, and a clear understanding of the long-term impact these decisions will have on the future of our town. Let's define Farragut with intention before it gets defined for us by default. Thank you.
Okay, Joey, thank you for the presentation there. If we have anyone else? No, we do not. I think really when you look back at 2001 and then in 2012, whenever this was first put into effect, we had a tremendous amount of community input. And that is really important when we have these folks come in from TSW, and they'll, of course, do their research, and they'll look and they'll see what we did have, what we have now, what we can have. And of course, we do have two major properties left in our town, and we also have quite a bit of infill. And so all that will be looked at, and the decisions will be given to us by them, and then we will have community input here in the boardroom. So that's how it worked before, and that's how we plan on doing it again. So, okay, I'll start off with Alderman Kane. You have any input on this?
Yes, thank you, sir. Obviously, you just pointed out none of us were here when this was originally adopted in 2012. The plan back then, it did give us a good roadmap. As Bart said, we've used it a lot. It's adjusted our, it helped us with some ordinances and so on, and it's moved forward. My two concerns about it is, one, I don't know if we should be doing this now or we should be waiting till after the election when there's a possibility, there's going to be a big change on this board. Or, the possibility of, more than 2 seats changing hands. And I just kind of wonder if we should be waiting for that. And then the other thing that I have is, I know you used TSW in the past. I'd like to see what another firm would come up with, since we've seen what TSW's done multiple times here. My opinion, I'd like to see a different firm used for this moving forward, but those are my two concerns.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Alderman Corey?
Yeah, I've got a couple comments and a question for Bart. Bart, you said you had 4 separate entities respond, and you in a committee reviewed those separate responses. Can you kind of go into the ratings that you did there?
Yeah, well, the process, the RFQ went out, and then we were asked to rate them based on their responses and, to the RFQ and what their, concept was in terms of redoing the plan and updating the plan, on various factors like, what they brought to the table in terms of transportation, what their plans were for public engagement. So we went through a rating process. There were several town staff members that rated them independently, and then we came together as a group and went over those scores.
So this rating process included rating I guess I want to see the engineers, but the technical skill set of the companies that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, in terms of, the staff, whether or not it looked like they had, the staff and timelines that we wanted, and they'd be able to do the project in the timeline that we were asking for, which is about a year. In terms of, the qualifications of the staff, that, that they had their bios and their professional credentials in the plans. And then, various other aspects that were part of the RFQ, and then, part of, what they were showing in their proposals. They all provided examples of other plans they've done for other jurisdictions that could be checked and that sort of thing. So again, there were four, they were all good firms, they all, were, quite competent to do the plan update. It's just when we were done with the rating,
So we're
we just
looking,
felt that TSW was the better option.
you brought up timelines, so we're looking at beginning this today or tomorrow or whatever. We hire them, go through the contract process, that kind of thing. It's going to be a year before they'll have a product out to us, or is it a year before they begin the process of gathering the public together and that? What does that timeline look like?
A year to have the product.
The product in a year, so they'll
Yeah.
begin the actual
They'll start doing
outreach.
data collection, probably, right off the, the bat, in terms of, looking at our existing plans, looking at, the updated census information, because, the 2012 was done based on 2010 census, and this, transportation data. I'm sure they'll want to look at, some of the planning efforts that have gone on in the area. I'm sure you're all aware of Knox County's planning effort here recently. We're not an island, so obviously what's going on out there affects us. Then they'll, start, working on, the public engagement side of it, scheduling those meetings. I think they proposed having like a stakeholder group, and having stakeholder meetings, having a steering committee, so that would have to be put together. It's a fairly traditional planning process. I mean, they all had basically the same process in place.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks. So my comment goes to Mr. Ruffalo. Thank you.
Okay.
My comment goes to Mr. Ruffalo. I agree with you 100%. You were right on. This is the beginning of a process that's going to affect the town. People in our town should become involved in this from the very get-go. This is the beginning of the process. The town does outreach. The town publicizes this. I know that Mr. Smoke takes a great interest in making sure that this information is provided to the public. So right now, now's the time, if you're interested in the direction that the town is going for the comprehensive land use plan, now's it. And Mr. Ruffalo hit the nail on the head. Not only the Board of Mayor and Alderman, but our planning department, staff, our municipal planning commission, engineering, all of our staff here and all of the boards and the decision-making processes that we have go back to documents that are created like this. So it's very critical for people to get involved. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. To address Alderman Kane's point, this will be long after the election. It won't even be a comment item leading up to, because if we approve this tonight, as far as this particular vendor, then like Bart said, there will be data collection. It'll be probably extensive before it ever even brought to a steering committee, and which has to be chosen. And so we've got to be very careful there, because we on the steering committee, so we need to try to provide the people with the most input as far as a lot of the business people that are in our town. And some of the, they look at some of the traffic the change that has happened from when they were here before. We have since put in the system we've got now, and it's working really well. They're testing the data on the other system that could be possibly used if it works out. So we've got a lot to look at coming up, and where this was in 2012 and it runs to 2025, then the very next one which will be this one that we'll embark on, will have a far-reaching time span. And during that period of time, we've got the two major properties and the infill that will invariably be sold and developed.
Yeah.
And so we've got a lot to look at. It will probably span 2 or 3 boards. as far as the time that this will cover. So I think having as much citizen input as we can have will be really important, so. In this case, I'll ask if you're in favor of this, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any noes?
No.
Okay, so we have a 2-to-1 vote here. So let the record show the agreement has been approved as requested, 2-to-1 at 6:40 p.m. Okay. Next will be approval of contracts 2026-24, South Monticello Road Culvert Replacement. This is a biggie.
Yeah, this agenda item is for the approval of the South Monticello Road culvert replacement to Adams Contracting. The stormwater pipe that crosses under South Monticello Road near 11619 South Monticello Road is deteriorated and is in need of replacement. The existing 42-inch corrugated metal pipe will be removed and replaced with a 42-inch reinforced concrete pipe, along with replacement of 2 end walls and replacement of curb inlets to ensure effective drainage. We received 4 bids on March 31st. The bids were $209,312.20, $204,137, $170,513.31, and $139,767. And that Adams Contracting was the low bidder with that bid of $139,767. The town has not contracted with Adams Contracting in the past, but references, including the city of Maryville, have expressed that Adams maintains a reputation of excellent work. Staff recommends approval of bids and award of contract 2026-24 South Monticello Road Culvert Replacement to Adams Contracting LLC for their low bid of $139,767.
Motion to approve?
Second.
None? Okay. Then discussion, we'll go with Alderman Kane.
What kind of time frame are we looking at once this gets approved tonight and you get it back to them?
10 weeks. Or are you talking about for the contract or start to finish?
Start to finish.
10 weeks from notice to proceed. So, and we plan to give them notice to proceed the end of the school year, May 21st. So that should have them done July 30th.
All right, thank you.
By July 30th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Alderman LaCroy.
And what's the lifespan, projected lifespan of a concrete culvert? I mean, this thing has been in the ground for a while, right?
I want to say they're, I don't want to guess.
Make something up, come on. This is
10,000
how I do it.
years?
We
Yeah. No, I think it's around 100 years because the CMP, this corrugated metal, was around 50, and the concrete should last longer than that. So,
Alderman LaCroy, our goal is that you won't have to deal with this ever again.
I think it goes for all of us. What we're seeing around town, right, not only here but out on the interstate, is all this corrugated metal pipe. We all use fertilizer on our yard, and that's what eats the galvanized off the pipe. And of course, when that happens, it rusts out, and it no longer has a bottom. When it no longer has a bottom, then it starts to go like an egg shape and it cave in. So this is going to be something, this is a good example. This is a 42-inch one, but this is a good example of what we're going to be faced with in our stormwater program for years to come, because back in the day, that's what they put in. They put in corrugated pipe. And so this is, I said a biggie, this is a start. It's not the first one, because I think the first one was, correct me if I'm wrong, David, that was the back end of Sedgefield, and that one actually did cave in. And that was a big pipe like this one. So it had all the water that come off the hill from top of Watt Road all the way down through it. So
My neighborhood had one.
yeah,
just doubled that
exactly.
too,
Yeah,
one all.
and yours was younger,
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
a younger pipe than what this one here is. So it's okay. With that done, I'll ask if in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Let the record show that the contract's been approved as requested. Adams. Okay, next will be approval of requests from First Utility District for easements on town-owned property at 11700 Campbell Lakes Drive.
Yes, as the mayor said, this is a request from First Utility District for utility easements on property owned by the town at 11700 Campbell Lakes Drive. That is Campbell Lakes Drive on the west side of Campbell Station Road. It's over in the area by the trailhead for the Grigsby Chapel Greenway. The purpose for the easements is the extension of their Beeline sanitary sewer upgrade that's going on right now. In the past, we have granted this type of easements anytime it's been needed, and staff recommends approval of this.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Motion to approve.
Joe, okay. Any resident comments on this one? None. Okay, discussion. Alderman Kane.
I do have one question. It's not about this particular spot that they're working on, but if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong, when we talked last year about them doing this project and we had them go through Founder's Park, did they say that they were gonna do permeable pavers when they redid our parking lot? I could swore
No,
we
that
had that
was-
discussion about that.
That was just asphalt.
Okay,
We had talked about possibly supplementing their work,
okay.
paying them to use the permeable
Okay.
pavers.
And then I saw they're cutting down a lot of trees and everything. I'm assuming that they're gonna, in some of the areas where they're at, especially down here along Concord Road, I'm assuming they're gonna beautify that when they're all done.
I'll defer to Edwin Deaton on that. He is here from First Utility District.
I got the green button on, good. Question was on beautifying,
Down here along Concord Road and Campbell Station, you guys have kind of cut some corridors and some trees where you're putting stuff in. Some of it just looks like it's just been hacked up, and I know it's not easy work going through, thick brush and everything. Just when you guys are all said and done, is it gonna, we're gonna have grass planted in those areas? What are we gonna do?
part of our Tennessee construction general permit for the work, which the SWIP is the supporting document for that, requires that we do establish permanent vegetation. That's a state of Tennessee requirement. So yes, certainly part of our work will be restoring grass, which from the state's perspective is an erosion prevention sediment control requirement. So
That's perfect.
we are doing that, and the stream crossings are, it was a individual permit, which goes on public notice, and they actually do document the post-construction conditions. So I've been out with the state's individual permit inspector looking at the crossings one at a time. So there'll be some other things we dress up on that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Don't run off.
Alderman LaCroy?
No comment.
No comment? I don't have any comment other than I think what you're doing is great. It looks good. I know that it's been slow going because of the rock,
It's been slow.
but hopefully you'll have a little bit better luck as you go forward. What is the end game for Trunk Line B?
The line serves our general Campbell Station corridor. It also crosses under Interstate 40, kind of goes up North Campbell Station. It goes west as far as some of the Hatmaker Lane service area, and it goes east down past Topgolf. Generally speaking, what we have done is looked at all developable area within our district on a basin-wide level, and we've tried to anticipate growth patterns just like you guys do, and we try to make a plan to ensure that we're sized appropriately to support expected land use. So this subject line went in the 70s. It's fairly remarkable that it's lasted as long as it has.
I watched them put it in, yeah.
With the density that's come to West Knoxville. So at 50 years into it, we're now looking at not just the next 50 years, but kind of that full build-out condition of what we think that's going to look like. So that's kind of why and where we are. The third and future phase will really be dependent on what the state of Tennessee does with the Campbell Station interchange, what that looks like and when. So to not throw good money after bad, we're going to sit and wait to see what they do so we don't spend a couple $1 million and then spend a couple $1 million again.
Redoing what?
This sewer line goes under the interstate. So yeah, we're pausing at the interstate.
So this will take care of the north side of the freeway as far as looks like we've got another development coming in over there on
It currently does and will for the future, yes.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, and part of the approval of this easement is also the release of an existing easement. So it's a net zero circumstance.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. And discussion closed. I'll ask if in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Noes. Let the record show that the request has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming out. Okay, next will be approval of supplement request 2 from Urban Engineering, Inc. for additional design services for Sonia Drive, Admiral Road Sidewalk Project.
In September of 2021, the board entered into an agreement with Urban Engineering for the design of sidewalk on the northern side of Sonia Drive from Admiral Road to Orrin Road. That project had a fee of $58,975. In May of 2023, the board approved a supplement request for additional fees of $69,879 to add sidewalk to the project on the west side of Admiral Road from Sonia Drive to roughly Kingston Pike. That doubled the length of the project. One of the major tasks in the scope for the original scope for Sonia Drive was to widen the eastern end of Sonia Drive and realign Sonia to try to overcome some topographic challenges. That had a pretty heavy impact on the south side of Sonia Drive, and there were quite a few objections on that. So Urban Engineering was asked to not widen Sonia and to leave it where it is now and simply add the sidewalk on the north side. That's a little easier said than done. They're asking for additional fees of $74,332.25 because of all the topographic challenges. That will bring their contract amount to $203,186.25. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, Darrell, thank you. I will need a motion.
Second.
Okay. Alex, Joe. Alex, go ahead and start off with your discussion.
I have no questions right now, Darrell.
I have some questions. So,
Go ahead.
thank you, sir. Part of this lengthening or installation of the sidewalks was for the parental responsibility zone. And I'm looking at your map, and we're going well past Wardley Road, which is the end of the parental responsibility zone. Is there an impact to the homes there, and what's the additional cost for that?
There is a pretty heavy impact on the north side there between Wardley and Orrin. I believe there are 5 driveways that are having to be realigned.
So when you say realigned, I was.
Pushed to one end of the properties and kind of make an S curve in the driveways in order to get the length needed to tie it down.
So I drove this road the other day, and so anyways, so these driveways are going to be rerouted and go across the front of their homes?
Correct.
People are going to be happy with that?
Probably not.
Yeah. Is there a way that we can stop this project at the end of the parental responsibility zone? What's the cost, do you think, of those additional 7, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 7 homes? What's the cost of that?
I don't have a,
You don't
I don't have a
numbers.
price for that.
$1 million? Make it up, Daryl, come on. No. Come on, man. Come on, make it, all right. That would be a concern of mine. The request that you have is to extend the sidewalk all the way to the end of Sonia, or all the way to the end.
Correct.
Could we make a, I don't want to say an amendment, I don't know how to do this, I'm a new guy. Can we approve it up to Wardley and then get a supplemental for the rest of that? Because I think if we ended at Wardley, that covers us for the parental responsibility zone.
Right, like getting a reduction
Yes,
in fee.
yeah. Look at the entire fee. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I was just making stuff up, David.
No, I was just gonna make a recommendation. I think it's worth the effort to go ahead and design the whole project all the way to, I think it's Oren Road. But when we go and actually do the bids, what we can do is bid it out and do it and stop it at Wardley. And then you have an ad alternate to see what the rest of that would cost, if we wanted to do that or not. So at least you have the whole project designed. If you want to do it, you can. If not, then we can always stop and do it later.
That's exactly what I said. Thank you.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, with that said, I don't have any comment, Darrell. Y'all pretty well covered it. I'll ask for a vote, please. Yes. Okay, let the record show that supplement's been approved as requested.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell. Okay, next will be citizen comments. Do we have anyone signed up for that? We do not. Then we'll go to the town administrator's report.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This week, we had a great thing happen. The Farragut Museum received 2 awards at the East Tennessee Historical Society ceremony. One was for Project Excellent Award for the Farragut Museum History Hour, and another one was the Publication Excellence Award for the Farragut Museum History Booklet. Christy Vining and our Historic Resources Coordinator, and Ron Ostrike, our Parks and Rec Director, as you see here on your screen, we're accepting those for the museum. Christy has done a fabulous job as we've opened up the museum and reopened it since we've been back here, of getting people in, having some really, really great programs to get people engaged in the museum and the history of the town. And so just kudos to her and her team and Ron and his team for doing a great job with the museum. We also have lots of things coming up over the next couple of weeks. We've got this Saturday, we've got from 7:30 and 9:30, the Bob Watt Fishing Rodeo at Anchor Park. Always a great time out there. Participation is almost full. We have got less water than normal, so I think we're gonna catch a lot of fish while we're out there. I think the kids will have a great time. So again, Anchor Park this weekend on Saturday at 7:30 and 9:30. On May 13th at 11 o'clock, the Farragut Museum History Tour will also have a tour of the Pleasant Forest Cemetery, where Director Dave Stinton will talk about the I think famous veterans that have been there at the cemetery. You always got May 16th from 11 to 4 o'clock, Chalk the Plaza at Mayor Ralph McGill Plaza. We're gonna have food trucks, we're gonna have local art vendors, kids zone, and have a ton of artists that are drawing all over the sidewalks out there. And the theme this year is America 250. So it's our 250th anniversary of the birthplace of our country. And so it'll be a great event. If you didn't see it last year, some really, really talented people out there. And so I'm sure this will be just as good. And then final thing I have is Dixie Lee Farmers Market is now open at the Renaissance Farragut, and they'll be open through October. And that's all I have to report.
David, I have a question real quick. I know you sent an email out in regards to applications are open if you want to join a committee or if you want to be considered for a committee. What's the last day that application process? I can't remember off the top of my head.
May 22nd. Right, so we're open right now. They can get on our website and go there and apply up until May 22nd. And so in June, we'll bring that to the board with all the people that have applied, and you'll make your decisions on who you'd like to appoint for next year. But this month, I encourage people, please get on there and apply for the different committees that you're interested in, so the board can take those up in June.
And please supply a spreadsheet like we have in the past. It's, because it's musical chairs as we go through this, so anyway. Thank you, David. Tom Hill, you're up.
Everybody's been behaving themselves really well, so I don't have any report tonight.
Okay, Tom, thank you. Okay, the time is approximately 7:00 p.m., and without objection, May 7th, 2026 Farragut